Hey everyone, ready to take a peek into the future. Today, we're diving into augmented reality, specifically Meta's new project, Orion. It's their prototype for AR glasses.
And it's not just like sticking a tiny screen on a normal pair of glasses.
Yeah, we've seen AR for
These
years,
are totally different.
but it's always been those big, clunky headsets, not something you'd want to wear out and about.
Right, right.
But Orion, they're going for that sleek, regular glasses look.
Yeah, I mean, because who wants to walk around looking like they walked off the set of some cheesy sci-fi movie? Not me.
Exactly. So Meta's really pushing this glasses first, tech second thing with Orion. But then they hit us with the most advanced AR glasses ever. Isn't that a pretty bold statement? I mean, what are they basing that on?
Well, for one thing, the miniaturization is insane. We're talking components that are just a fraction of a millimeter small, all packed into a frame that's supposed to feel like your everyday eyeglasses.
Okay, that's impressive. But what about the actual experience? They keep mentioning holographic displays and this huge field of view. But what does that even look like in real life? Paint me a picture.
All right, so imagine this. You're not just seeing like a tiny notification in the corner of your vision, okay? We're talking a full-on virtual screen as big as you want, appearing wherever you need it, your desk, your living room wall, even just floating in midair.
So I could, theoretically watch a movie on a massive virtual screen while I'm on the bus, or have multiple work screens going at once without needing an actual desk setup.
Exactly. And because the lenses are transparent, you're still present in the real world. So picture a virtual meeting where you can see everyone's facial expressions, their body language, all while you're looking at shared documents on a huge virtual screen right there in front of you. That's the kind of seamless experience they're going for.
That's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. But let's move on to something that's both super cool and honestly a little creepy. Orion's AI. They use this example of it, like suggesting recipes based on what's in your fridge. Help me out here. How is that actually useful in the real world?
Okay, so say you're a busy parent, right? You get home after a crazy day, you're totally wiped, but you got to get dinner on the table.
Yeah.
Now, instead of wasting time on your phone, scrolling through a million recipes,
Ugh, I've been there.
your glasses, see what you've got in the fridge, and just suggest something that works, making life easier, more efficient.
Okay, so like a personal assistant that can anticipate what you need. But speaking of anticipating your needs, that brings up a big concern for me. Privacy. If this thing can see what I see, what's happening to all that data, they didn't really go into that in this article.
And that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
For people to actually feel good about using a device like Orion, Meta really needs to be upfront about data privacy. Like, what are they collecting? How's it stored? Who has access?
Right. I mean, I like the convenience, but not if it means constantly being watched and judged by my own glasses. Like, I don't need my snack choices being analyzed?
I hear you. These are exactly the questions we need to ask.
Yeah.
What are you giving up for these cool features? Is it really worth it?
Okay, so we've got this incredible tech with huge potential, but also some major unanswered questions about data privacy. What else should we be thinking about here?
Well, another concern that always comes up with AR is social isolation. If everyone's plugged into their own little digital worlds, are we going to become even more disconnected from the people right in front of us?
Yeah, it's like that Black Mirror episode, you know the one?
Totally get you. That one's a classic, right? But Meta seems to realize that's a worry people have, because they keep saying how Orion's design helps avoid that whole digital wall thing.
Okay, so how exactly are they addressing that? Are they saying it's not isolating at all, or more like, here's how to use it responsibly kind of thing?
I think it's more about the approach.
Right.
Remember we were talking about those transparent lenses?
Right.
You're still making eye contact. You can see those little micro expressions people make, all that stuff that's key to real human connection.
Right, right. So it's not about shutting out the real world, but more about bringing those digital elements into how we interact in a way that makes things better, not replacing what's already there, which I guess is kind of the whole point of augmented reality when you think about it, huh?
Exactly. And that takes us to some of the ways people could use Orion, besides just, the convenience factor. Meta talks about being more productive, having really immersive entertainment, even being able to just make video calls without having to pull your phone out.
Okay, I gotta admit, being able to take a work call while I'm walking my dog in the park sounds kind of nice. But how do you think this whole always connected thing could change how we work, how we socialize? Because let's be real, it's not going to be all sunshine and virtual rainbows, is it?
It's a tough one, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
On the one hand, the flexibility would be incredible, right? Like you could collaborate with people all over the world, and it'd feel like you're in the same room. Or get info instantly to help you work better faster.
No more frantically searching for that one email while your boss is waiting on you, right? Always sign me up.
Uh-huh, exactly. But then there's the other side of it. Are we just blurring the lines even more between our work life and our personal life? Because if you're always on, if work can interrupt any moment, finding that balance gets really tough.
And what about just hanging out with people? Like, if everyone's got these AR glasses on, doing their own thing in their own little digital world, is that going to change how we act in, like, normal face-to-face situations?
It's definitely a possibility. Imagine you're having dinner with someone, and
Mhm.
instead of being present in the conversation, they're like constantly checking notifications that only they can see. Or maybe even like discreetly answering messages.
Oh, or worse, checking their fantasy football scores while you're telling them about your day. Yikes.
Exactly. It's not hard to picture those awkward moments happening, or even just feeling disconnected from someone even though you're right there with them.
So are we going to need a whole new set of social rules, almost like learning to silence your phone at the movies, but for this AR world?
It'll be interesting to see what happens for sure. But for now, how about we switch gears a bit and talk about how Meta actually plans on bringing Orion to everyone? They're calling it a polished product prototype, which makes it seem like it's not just some far-off dream, right?
Yeah, like they're serious about this, but being careful too.
Yeah.
Doing internal testing, working with just a few people before they just throw it out there to everyone. Is that a good move, you think? Or just like delaying what's going to happen anyway?
I think it's really smart of them. It's not just like a new smartphone, right? This is a totally different way of using tech, of interacting with each other.
Yeah, if they rush this out without really knowing how it'll affect everything, it could be a disaster waiting to happen, right?
Yeah, totally. And getting it right means dealing with the stuff they still need to figure out.
Yeah.
Like the article mentioned, they're working on making the visuals even sharper and making Orion actually affordable, which is a big one.
Because, I mean, new tech like this is usually crazy expensive at first, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that whole accessibility thing? Will this be something anyone can get their hands on, or just for the lucky few?
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's one Meta hasn't really answered yet. If they want Orion to be more than some niche gadget, just for early adopters, they've got to make it something the average person can actually afford. Otherwise, it's just going to widen the gap between those who have access to this tech and those who don't.
Right, kind of like smartphones back in the day, right? Like only rich people had them at first, and then slowly they became more affordable. Hopefully it's the same deal with Orion.
I hope so too. But even beyond the price, there's the whole question of, like, will people actually accept this? Will people everywhere be okay with wearing AR glasses? Will they see it as something that helps them connect with people? Or will they see it as like this barrier that gets in the way of real human interaction?
It's wild how it's not even just about the tech itself, it's about how it fits into how we already live and interact with each other. So much to think about.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to that question from the article that really got me thinking.
Yeah.
They ask, can AR tech actually help us be more present in the real world, like Meta says? Or will it just make us even more distracted, more disconnected?
It's almost like a paradox, right? That this tech, which usually just pulls us out of the real world, could actually make us more engaged with what's around us. I don't know. Is that even possible?
It really is a trip, isn't it? And honestly, I think the answer comes down to us. Like any tool, you can use it for good or for bad, right? It depends what our intentions are and being aware of how we're actually using it.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of augmented reality and what Meta's hoping to do with Orion, what's the big takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the biggest thing is this. Orion is showing us a future where the line between the digital world and the real world is getting blurrier and blurrier. It's a future with tons of possibilities, but also some real risks. It's up to all of us to really pay attention to what's happening, ask the tough questions, and try to shape this future into something that's good for everyone.
Well said. That was an amazing deep dive into augmented reality and Meta's vision for the future with Orion. So, if this tech really does take off, will we need a whole new set of etiquette rules for a world where everyone's rocking AR glasses? What do you think those rules should be? Let us know. We want to hear your thoughts. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.